There's no particular reason for either team to pick IO right now.
Yay! The Visage! Wait, I'm so confused. Now they have 3 offlane heroes.
Tide's gonna be support, so it's gonna be Visage plus Tide lane, pos 4. And I think Lelouch's gonna actually pick up the Pango this game.
That's actually so good. I love that lane.
And Nevermind is gonna be playing the Visage here, I think.
Yeah, I hope so.
You mentioned it and you talked about it.
I
and
love
you ended up
Visage.
getting your wish.
I'm really happy about that. I think the hero is so strong in lane because what I've been seeing is you go the nuke level 1 and then you get either your E or your Q depending on how hard the lane is. Then you go another point in the nuke, then you max out your Q. And like this nuke damage in lane is impossible to lane against. If you have a body like Tide that can kind of like tank heroes for you so you can lane properly, it's like so strong. Especially if you have abilities that help you skirmish in the lane because then you build up the stacks for the nuke damage. So like a Tide seems really good for that. I would love to see how this lane plays out.
Yeah, you just want to trade as much damage as possible when you're playing with this Visage because, as you mentioned, the nuke is really low cooldown and does way too much damage.
So much damage.
They're taking full advantage
I mean,
of
it's
that.
super low cooldown too. That's like the other thing. It's like you just get 2 of them off right away. It's pretty mana intensive, but you normally get a kill with it and just bring some more mangoes anyway and just keep rolling.
Well, you seem very in favor of Polaris' offlane then. What do you think they need as their final pick to really complete the draft?
They just need a support at this point. Like, they have good team fight. They have a good carry. You know, they got a lot. Like, at this point in the game, they just need something to help Pango, which I think is actually the Visage and the Ravage. It's really hard to say because their lineup is already so well-rounded that I don't know if there's like one particular pick. I'd like to see like a shadow demon or a viper, something to make this monkey's life like miserable because this monkey is core for sure.
Yes.
And there's not many like supports you can pick here to really mess with him.
That's what you think. It could be a snap mid. We've seen it. Southeast Asia, they love the mid snap.
We have seen that.
Yeah, it's possible, but the Mars monkey lane isn't like the most
I'm a
threatening
big fan
thing.
of Witch Doctor. That has literally been like my last 8 games. Witch Doctor.
I think they could have been more creative than Witch Doctor
No,
there.
I think they were perfect.
I mean, it's terrifying. I don't think there's a lane alive that can survive CK Witch Doctor. I actually don't know what you could possibly pick to like lane into that.
Really?
I mean,
So you don't even want to see the rest of Talon's
I mean,
draft.
they have so much damage. They have like multiple stuns and ways to catch and bring you in. Like the maledict. Like even if you're able to fight back, whoever gets maledicted and stunned is dead.
Yeah.
So like the offlaner's life is hell. I would be really curious to see if they can win this lane. I mean, Mars' snap is a pretty good lane. But I don't know how good it is. CK Witch Doctor.
I mean, CK is just too strong at laning, no matter what you pair him with.
Yeah.
I mean, they just have to. I think Mars Snap can definitely win the lane if you misstep a little bit as a CK and Witch Doctor. But for sure, favored for the CK, I think. And for this last pick here, they need to decide if this monkey's carry or not. This is the real question.
I do really like it as a carry.
I want them to do the Lesh still. I think it's so good, especially against Visage too. Just the Ags against all this garbage is gonna make it so they can't do any damage. And he just gets in there. They need an answer for CK right now. They don't have it.
Yeah. Unless it's already really lovely with Mars, like having the arena and then you just get to like use all your spells through it. It's always been like really nice synergy. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. I do like the monkey though as a carry a lot. I think it's like it kind of shreds the Visage if you're ever in his ult. Just the buds don't sustain.
Yeah, it works on non-hero units like just bear or birds. Brewmaster ult. It's a weird classification of like what it hits and what it doesn't because it doesn't hit creeps like Lycan wolves and stuff like that.
I just wonder if monkey can lane into Visage. Like if
it's good. It's actually really good because you can.
Yeah.
You can mischief dodge all the soul assumptions.
Oh, you're right. But the cooldown's really long. I guess it's like too mana intensive though.
It's still good.
Yeah.
They do have the Ember Spirit instead. Do you think there's a reason why specifically the Ember Spirit was picked?
Yeah, it's the same idea. It's just they don't know about the power of the Leshrac yet.
You're like, watch this back. I'll tell you. I'll let you know. But you guys have helped me through this draft, and it means that we get to bring in our 2 other people into this conversation is going to be your casters, Mike and John, joining us. How are you both?
Where's the glasses? I don't like this anymore.
My eyes are well now. You know, we got to save the glasses for another time. You know, we can't keep popping them out, but I'm looking forward to this. You know, no bias here, no bias at all for Talon Esports. No, absolutely no bias at all.
Talon. John,
I'm liking
cool.
what Talon has, and I'm ready for the debut here. I'm just ready.
Yeah, I'm going to try my absolute hardest to not allow the bias to take over this cast here. I think Polaris, I mean, they're the BTS Pro Series Season 11 winners, right? I mean, there's no way they lose this game one. With a draft like CK Visage, impossible.
Alrighty, so those two are definitely split. For you two, are you both going to go Polaris? Talon, where do you sit?
I want Polaris to win because I think their draft is a lot cooler.
Yeah.
I mean, Talon's draft is... It's good. I don't dislike it, but it's kind of boring.
Actually, kind of true.
And are you the same?
I'm a massive fan of Visage, so I will be going with Polaris.
Alrighty, I do know that we're going to be jumping into game one very soon, but I'm going to start off this tour with some crazy predictions. When does the first tower go down, and who gets it? I'll start with you two.
Oh, okay. Let's see. The first tower is going to go down. It's going to be Visage, and he's going to get it at 6 minutes and 35 seconds.
Well, holy
I
heck.
was guessing Visage, but like 9 minutes.
Alright.
He needs to get level 6, you know?
Oh, he's
getting that 6
He's
minutes.
going to stomp his lane for sure, right?
Mike, what about you? What do you predict?
11 minutes, I'd say. 11 minutes exactly.
Wow.
Which team?
Oh, Polaris.
And John?
7.5 minutes for Polaris, and they've got the push, yeah.
All right, you're all pretty close around it, and you're all definitely in for Polaris getting the first tower. I am excited to see how it plays out, but Mike and John, take it away for game one between Talon and Polaris.
Oh, thank you so much, Nat. We do go into game number 1 of the first series of the upper division for the SEA DPC 2 or 3, and it is, of course, MLP Dota and johnxfire. Jonathan, it feels so damn good to be addressed by my name for once. Obviously, some very tough things happened in Stockholm that we'll talk about a bit later on. But before we get into the game, so how you doing?
Doing great, Mike. I'm looking forward to how my boys in Talon debut. Of course, Polaris isn't an easy opponent. They had a really good run in Tour 1, almost made it to the majors. Won Pro Series 11. And they've got a lot of momentum behind them, and their drafting has just gone really crazy since Pro Series, right? Never mind picking up the Visage. Xavier's still on those greedy forests. There is a smoke up here, Mike.
There certainly is a 5v5 team fight to get started as Lelouch on the front lines queue. He's going to be the first one to drop. Right off the bat, in we go. KP now in danger. Natsumi will chase him down. Should eventually have him as well as the stun does fly out. KP, he'll be the second to drop. A double kill for Natsumi. Jonathan, there's no other way to get started on the SEA DPC than that.
Nah, that's the classic way to start. Smoke on smoke, get some aggression out. Polaris having the high ground, having a really good position to break the smoke, get better vision, get their stuns on top, and their level 1 is a lot stronger as well, Mike. Big stuns, big nukes, level 1 soul assumption out from Nevermind means in those skirmishes, you're always going to have the nuke damage to play with, and it just leads to an easier time. We talked about this a little bit by ourselves. Maledict plus soul assumption, very painful when you hook those two spells up.
Yeah, I suppose it's a nice welcoming gift here for Talon in Div 1, Jonathan. A very, very rough start here for them as they've given a double kill away to Natsumi, of all people, on the Chaos Knight. And we know how powerful this hero is right now, as we are going to have a bit of a different skirmish going on. Never mind. Hands up. Savage will get a bit of harassment out, but eventually is going to have to let him go, as Nevermind is going to be just fine. And I suppose while we're here, we may as well start with the bottom lane, Jonathan. You're going to have Nevermind and 23 Savage, along with Hyde in this bottom lane, and of course you are going to have Xavier's coming in on the Tidehunter. I believe the panel thought that this Visage lane was going to be a bit of a headache here for Talon. John, I want to hear your thoughts though. What do you think is going to happen in this bot lane?
It's a back and forth when you can see Nevermind getting zoned out. First few levels for Visage can be a bit tough, especially up against something like the Monkey King and the Bane. Very high damage heroes by their own right. And we all know how Xavius plays. He picks up these blinky pause 4s. He loves his Magnus, loves his Shaker. Tide plays the same way. So he's going to be a little bit greedier in the lane. He's just going to be building up farm, pulling the creep wave when he can, and getting his own EXP. That's going to come at the cost of Nevermind's own scaling. And that should leave a lot of room for Savage to just farm. So it's down to Talon to punish this greedier split up between these two heroes and just get as much as they can from the Monkey. But as long as the aggression's not coming out from Visage early, you feel pretty good about that lane for Talon.
I mean, Hyde's going to chase Xavius down. I think Xavius may have been trying to go for a double pull here, but doesn't get away with the second wave. The Hyde eventually going to have to let Xavius walk away, and it does seem like the pool is going to work out, so never mind, going to have a bit of an easier time farming, as he is going to have a double wave underneath that bottom tier 1 tower. I suppose we should have a quick gander at the other lanes while we have a chance as well. Jonathan, of course, mid lane, Lelouch and Makoto going to be going at it on the Pango and Ember Spirit. This lane, though, I mean, Makoto so far having a great old time, but Lelouch right behind him on one of his signature heroes in the Pangolier. Talk to me about it, John, this mid lane. How does it match up?
It's pretty back and forth. Both sides have great ways to wave clear. Both sides have great ways to just harass each other out. It really boils down to rune control. Mikato always has the free harassment with Sleight of Fist up against a melee hero. It's pretty hard to dodge out for Lelouch. You are really going to have to see around a 6-minute mark or even a 4-minute mark who does commit to help their mid. Lelouch is going to want that bottle refill. He's going to want to play around his level 6 timing. You've got good rotations from the Witch Doctor, but not so much from the Tide. So a little bit more presence from Talon if they do get their 2 supports on top.
Speaking of that Witch Doctor, John, top lane, they are moving in onto KP, but it seems like the Mars is going to be just fine for now. Because Fear and Sheepo were saying on the panel that this top lane could be quite devastating. There's even bot lane Hyde. It's getting rather low, but now Savage going to move in onto Xavius. Try to punish the Tide Hunter, but isn't going to have enough control to finish him off. Going back to my point though, John, the panel was discussing how powerful the CK Witch Doctor lane was going to be. So far, no real kills coming out in this top lane, but is there a level perhaps where you think the kills will start coming out here for Polaris, or is there a way for Talon to try and deal with it?
I think by the time you hit level 4 Natsumi, it feels really easy to commit. Chaos Strike at level 2, lots of sustain, lots of damage that Talon might not be ready for. Of course, Talon's been doing a great job of just splitting up, not giving the max value from the cast, from the Maledict coming through, and if you can't get those multiple chains stuns from the cask onto the heroes, the chain stuns from Talon are much more reliable. It's Spear, it's Cookie, it's really easy to set up, and it's really easy to lay the damage on to that CK. So for Polaris, just gonna have to wait for probably level 4 on the CK, maybe level 3 on the Witch Doctor. That's when you can really ramp it up. They are losing a little bit in the CS, but not by too much. Natsumi's still having a good time farming up. It's not really getting zoned out too badly, and you're still able to control the lane fairly well here on TMV.
That they are. I'd say KP still having a pretty nice laning stage, regardless of the actual matchup so far. So we are actually going to see the support start rotating out. Q and TMV, they'll make their way back into the laning stage now, but doesn't seem like they've been able to really get the start they wanted, as Cookie is going to land Q with a nice slowdown, but the spear is going to be off the mark. KP trying to find the angle, but was unable to get it. This bot lane now, never mind. Gonna be chased down to the Visage, is gonna drop. Savage able to take 1 kill on the Monkey King. And I tell you what, John, that is not how I thought the bot lane would be going for it.
Yeah, it just boils down to, again, how greedy Xavius is having to play on a Tide. You could try to play around with the slow stacking on Gush and on Grave Chill, but
Q.
locking in and turning around the Monkey's tough.
Q, he's gonna try and turn around here onto the CK. Does get the Cookie stun off, but it's just not gonna be enough. So at the very least for Polaris, they do have a decent top lane going for themselves. I still think KP's getting away with a bit too much here on the Mars.
He's still able to farm, and that's the key thing. As long as KP hits that timing on his blink, starts to initiate, hits a good level 6 timing as well, you've got that playmaking on Talon's end to really set a pace. So do have to watch out for that. You do see the role committed from Lelouch to just bail out from mid as well. So he's already getting shoved out by Mikato, and that's good news for the side of Talon. He doesn't even have his Orb of Corrosion up. He went for the stick and the bottle, lots of sustain just to punish these spell spam, but there's not enough to lock in Mikato on mid. And if this Ember does manage to get that snowball start onto the physical buildup of phase boots and the Orb of Corrosion, Mikado's going to be showing up early to help, again, just sustain that aggression out while Polaris still tries to get farm, especially on that off lane for Xavius and Nevermind.
Yeah, certainly so. Well, Nevermind just constantly being chased down here by Savage, not allowed to just remain in the lane and hit creeps as he wants to, and you already seen Xavius kind of rotating out and starting to stack that triangle. Just not having the impact he would have liked down at that bot lane, as there is going to be a bit of a fight over the power rune 6-minute mark. Xavius is able to pick up the haste rune. It's Makoto. Would love to go for a chase, but doesn't have any points in the chain so far, so he's going to have to let them go. I suppose Lelouch not being able to pick up the haste rune himself is still going to be quite detrimental here to Polaris, who do seem to be struggling somewhat. Apart from that top lane, the bottom mid lane, it really hasn't gone as well as you would have hoped.
Yeah, it's not going as quickly as they'd hoped. They are starting to get some moves out onto KP, but no cask bounces, so whether or not they can find that kill is still a bit nebulous. Damage is good, but if you're not finding kills, you're missing out in CS, and you do want to build up on that CK to match the output of Savage down the line.
Yeah, they at least force KP out of the lane, but that's about all they're going to get out of this. This CK, Natsumi, still farming up quite nicely on the CK, does pick up the treads. I'm still just having a look down at Nevermind, who's really just struggling here on 17 CS. A lot of stacks being made in multiple jungles here by Polaris, but they have been spotted out. Q, he'll know about the stacks on the left side jungle, and well, bottom lane, there'll be a jump in. Nevermind, again gonna be in trouble. Savage, gonna take the soul assumption, but seeing Lelouch, he does not want the fight. They'll let Hyde die for this. It's a 3-hero rotation for the kill, and they will get it. Not the greatest kill in the world, but it's something for Polaris.
Yeah, it's something. It's a lot of commitment for that kill. It opens up top a little bit more and opens up mid. What?
He's out of mana, John. In fact, they found both of them. Nevermind is going to drop, and so will Lelouch. Oh, that's a disastrous team fight for Polaris.
Yeah, that's exactly what they don't want to see there. Great turnaround from Talon, and we're starting to see again that synergy between Savage and Q, which is why I was surprised when Q and Hyde switched around. I mean, you know, Q laning with Savage felt like the big thing to kind of bridge that communication gap, but it does look like, again, he's getting comfier with talking. Talon already starting to group up mid off the back of that aggression. They are starting to really see the damage ramp up from Mikado. Phase boots up, Blightstone, and that's enough to really get the damage off with just a max sleight of fist. And Xavius still doesn't have a Ravage.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. Xavier's going to drop. Makoto able to take a kill for himself on the Ember. And when you look at the net worth board right now, John Makoto all the way at the top on the Ember. Going to be having a very good game for himself. They will start pushing in that mid-tier 1 tower. Very, very tough times. Polaris going to try and find a way back into this game after this laning stage. Lelouch going to meet up with Q in the mid lane, but can't even handle his damage right now on the Snapfire. Lelouch is just a huge struggle on the Pango, and they've just got a back.
Yeah, it's all about item timings now for Polaris. They need some initial items to start rolling home.
Yeah, never mind. Never mind. The Nightmare is there, but the Wukong, it did seem a bit forced out. Never mind. He's going to be able to survive. At least for now.
I think the one issue coming out here for Nevermind is that he opts for this Grave Shield buildup over the Soul Assumption, so you're going for the slow stack and you're going for additional attack speed, but he doesn't have anything to play off the back of. Like, if you did have Xavius around in a more aggressive position, you could play with Gush stacking on top of that. It's just not shaping up, and we're past that point now for the Visage. So for Nevermind now, the game plan is to just hit level 6, get the Familiars, try to rush down the tower. All of us are completely off the mark on that prediction for the push. Polaris hasn't been able to get space out. Except you, Mikey. 11 minutes. Let's see.
I mean, to be fair, I did say Polaris, but, you know, I guess I could have pretended like I said Talon. Xavier's going to try and get chased down here. Makoto does get the chains off. They lose. Try and force a fight as Makoto, waiting for another sleight of fist, is going to be able to land. Really wants the kill, and is going to be able to remnant out of there just fine. He gets away with another. 5-4 now with the 2K net worth advantage. The way of Talon. It's a very strong debut thus far.
It's shaping up really well for Talon. They're getting that early aggression out. Polaris, again, they're running with a greedier 4. They're needing some farm, especially on that Visage. Just the Tranquils alone, along with the Ring of Basilius and Null, just doesn't do enough, and their stacks get cleared out. Mikado manages to snipe a lot.
They do, as TMB going to be very cautious. Makoto, he's going to double damage rune, and it's just going to be too easy. TMB already knows he's going to die. And it seems like bot lane, they're going to try again onto Nevermind, but he is going to be able to run with the Brave Chill. In fact, they're going to try and turn onto Savage, but he's got the cookie away. This is now Makoto will rotate from the side and into the kisses they go. Q is going to try for it, and he's got it. Nevermind to drop. Xavius, he'll keep running. Makoto, he'll go for the chase. Doesn't really have the chains to lock him down. It just won't matter, though. The aggression from Talon really just paying off this game 1.
They're really forcing the issues down bot. They're punishing how greedy Xavius has to be on the side. And now he doesn't have room to farm up. He doesn't have room to just sit back, try to build into this pipe he's trying to go for, get into the blink that we know Xavius loves to go for. And Talon has the room to push onto mid. They've got the level 6s up. Even Hyde has that grip ready to go, and that's going to be an easy tower to take. 11 minutes, but wrong team, Mike.
You know, what can you do, John? At least I was half right, unlike all you panelists and analysts.
Very, very well played there, Mikey. The one thing that Polaris has also been ignoring here, right, has been KP. Yeah. He's had a free top lane. He's had a slower start, but he's managing to build up, matching Lelouch's farm, who had a really slow start in this lane. And that should lead to a faster blink timing, and we haven't even seen some of the first arenas yet from KP. So once they've got that initiation on hand, along with Mikado's mobility, for Polaris, it's a tough issue to lock them down. Their most reliable stun is Chaos Ball. Even that's a bit RNG based. Cask is nice as well. Outside of that, you're waiting for Ravage here on Xavius.
Mikado is going to be able to pick up the power rune, no problems. Does take the Invis rune on the M-bars. They do take the top tier 1 tower to boot. Polaris still really struggling to get this draft going. 12 minutes in, not one tier 1 tower being taken yet. It's even more concerning as Nevermind. He's only just ahead of Q on the support Snapfire right now. In terms of levels, that is. It's a very rough time. As Polaris, they're going to try and secure their first bottom tier 1 tower, but in the meantime, Xavius going to be chased down by Q. They will not connect the cookie. He is going to be fine, but there is a smoke out. Talon, they might try to force a fight down to the bot lane. Even with that tier 1 tower gone, there'll be a counter smoke now. Polaris gonna try and punish his Hyde. It's gonna be around to break the smoke and does do so successfully. He might be the only one to die here, but it does seem like that's exactly how it's gonna go. Go for a bit of a nightmare, but it won't matter. Polaris able to take another position 5 kill.
Yeah, it's not the biggest kill in the world, and you start to worry about what Polaris is finding on the map. Yeah, they use the smoke to find that kill in the pause 5. Talon a bit optimistic with their own smoke play, probably just looking to intercept that movement from Polaris, and they get the better deal from it. You know, no roll up on Polaris. They do have Ravage ready to go finally on Xavius, so they've got some lockdown to play with. But how do you really catch out December? It's going to take a really good setup, probably from Natsumi, and he's still not the comfiest on the CP. He does have Armlet up, but he's much more focused in on farming. Savage, he's almost at that point where he's got the full Battle Fury up. So if this game does scale towards late game, it becomes a pretty tough prospect for that CK to keep up and farm with how fast Savage can clear out these camps.
Yeah, and for now they're on par, but like you said, with the Battle Fury up, it's going to become a hell of a lot easier here for Savage to just overtake. And speaking of overtaking mid lane, Mikoto, who has overtaken Lelouch by a mile, might go in for a fight as Hyde. He's going to come in from the backside. They've got the Fiend's Grip, they've got a double damage, and they've got Lelouch. It's a very rough time for this mid Pango, John.
Yeah, it's not quite shaping up. Like, the mid matchup went well enough, but Mikado just managed to really harass out and get some greater rune control in the water runes. We saw some movement out from Lelouch earlier on, where he had to go for the bounty rune just to get a top up. He does have that diffusal up. And Polaris, again, they're in a position where he could try to force a play with Ravage without a blink. Catching out the Ember just still feels really tough. And look at Talon just going for another smoke play.
Oh, never mind. He just can't catch a break, this bloke. That they won't land the chains, but look at the kisses, John. Look at the damage.
Oh, God.
Nevermind, just gone. Hyde, he will secure the kill in quotations. As Lelouch is going to try and go for a bit of a chase here. Onto the Bane at the least. Mikoto does get stunned up. Hyde somehow still alive, does finally drop, but now Lelouch needs his own way out. Chains are there. They want to keep going. Mikoto, he's a bit too low on mana, but he has the Sleight of Fist. He'll take another kill as they can't even get the rift off. Oh, the fog comes in the way between Natsumi and Mikoto. Polaris, they're just getting nothing, John. I mean, if all they're going to find is a pos 5 Bane, I don't know what to tell you. Q?
They might be able to find Q at the least.
They're going to try, but Q's fine. He just hops his way out.
It just boils back to that control issue, Mike. Like, yeah, they've got familiar stunts. They need something harder. They need to be able to go into these fights with Chaos Bolt and the Cask flying through from TMV, and they just haven't been able to connect any of that as of yet. They do have this early blink now on Talon as well on Q, rushing the Ag Shard next. So even more stuns, more initiation for them. Mikado's just been a massive beast. He's just so mobile on December that they really have to find that initiation onto him to just lock him down multiple times.
Yeah, Mikoto, he's just going to remnant away so easily. It's one of the things about the pos 5 Witch Doctor, John, is you don't really have the greatest setup, right? Like, as a pos 5, your stun is quite easily dodgeable. Even though it is quite a nice stun if you can land it on a couple. They are going to find Hyde again. Hyde, well, he'll get the tip out from KB, but he's doing a great job, John. Every time you smoke, every time you rotate, all you're finding is the Bane hide. He'll be very happy with that.
And again, it's just not a target that Polaris wants to find right now. They need to be able to find and punish the Monkey King for going through this Battle Fury build. Savage is farming up in the jungle, still maintaining that slight net worth lead over our CK. And for Polaris, it just feels like this greed is not paying off just yet. We haven't seen Zavis be able to play with Ravage. We've not seen the full potential of this pause for Tide coming through. Zavis kind of got himself stuck with a Tumbler Store as well. He's actually still stuck. Never mind cuts one tree, needs to cut another. He's just stuck there. The wrong tree, never mind.
Oh, goodness me. Oh, I'm still a little bit sick here, John. Polaris, they just make me laugh a bit too much. Never mind, must have known that was the wrong tree. My God. Still moving on to Polaris. We'll see what they can get done here as Makoto's just going to break the smoke, or rather just break the rotation this time. Cookie away, Makoto, he's going to be fine. Chains back onto the Tide. Polaris, it's just so rough because you have no way to initiate. You were literally just relying on Lelouch, who seems to need the Blink Dagger up to really get the initiation he needs.
Yeah, and it's not too far off for Lelouch at the very least. He's only got about 450 gold to go. So once you do have that Blink roll, it should be easier to lock in onto the Ember from the Fog, get the Chain Control off, get the Familiars on top, get the Cask, Chaos Bolt on top as well. Ooh.
Is he going to be all right, Makoto? Yeah, he's confident. He won't be able to find the Witch. Oh, never mind. He knows. He knows he's around there somewhere. Remnants forward. He's got the chains up, but he does not get it off. Let's get him the heart racing. Force the rotations out from Polaris. They do bring in 5 into the mid lane, but nothing going to come out of it. Perhaps they could force a smoke, and they will try. But again, who's initiating? They don't have the blink up yet on Lelouch. He was just about 200 gold away from it. They just feel forced to do this because they grouped up as 5 in the mid lane. They'll go in behind the T1 mid tower, but it's going to be a hard kind of defense to force out from Talon, I think. When we go, mid T1 tower under siege, Makoto, he'll just chip away. They'll force the glyph out, but Polaris, they really don't seem like they're going to be able to find anything out of this.
And smoke doesn't amount to much. Still more space for Savage. Look, every single time they're forced to group up in Talons, and Savage is just playing top, playing in this triangle. No one moves to check in on that monkey. Still #1 net worth, ahead by 900 gold over Natsumi. BKB almost done along with that Battle Fury, going for the Ags next. How do you stop this monkey? It's such a great solution to the CK down the line, especially while the CK doesn't have that Reality Rift piercing spell immunity at level 20. It's still a ways off for a CK, and they're just running out of space on Polaris. Like, we're not even seeing the Ags build up anymore on Nevermind for his Visage. He's just going straight for the Wraith Pack. They need some damage mitigation. They need some durability on top. And even that item's going to be a bit stalled out here. So Talon has all the room in the world to just keep taking over that top jungle, keep forcing these movements out. And for Polaris, every single smoke kill missed here, Mike, makes it a lot tougher for their game.
I mean, speaking of missed smoke kills here, John, I mean, TMV, he buys the smoke out now, but his courier is still going back to the base. They just got their blink timing on Lelouch about 20 seconds ago, and it feels like they're kind of wasting their time here. This is the time you smoke up and go, but they just, the coordination just wasn't there. I mean, it's coming out now. It's starting to feel a little bit late is what I'm saying.
Just look at the position of Talon as well. They know where Polaris is playing. They're constantly on the other side of the mid lane. So every single time Polaris tries to go for the smoke play, they're forced to try to cross the river. The mid-tier one still cuts their access point there as well. And it just makes it so tough to find that route. They don't have defensive wards up top where Talon is playing. And there are some good Talon wards still watching that bot jungle. So they're completely aware of where Polaris farms. They just don't have a very good angle. They've got to be able to play with that blink, as you mentioned, Mike. This is big on the Lelouch. This will give them the initiation they need to maybe control up Mikado. But look at Talon, straight into the Roche. No vision, no information from Polaris to find us out.
And they still haven't smoked. They still are holding on to that smoke here on TMV. This is just taking way too long. They're trying to farm up the mid creep wave, but Roshan's gone now. Had you committed that smoke earlier, you might have had a chance at that Roshan, but now with the BKBs up and an Aegis up on Talon, this blink timing, it just goes right down the toilet.
It's just a matter of being able to jump before the BKBs fly on time. It's easier said than done. Sagus?
Yeah, Cookie, not gonna land. KP, not even gonna bother throwing out the arena yet. They don't really want to start on Xavier's. There's another blink timing. Natsumi, he's got his own one up now, sensing he does need to get aggressive with his team.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Talon, I mean, they've got a 10k net worth advantage here, John. 10k. I don't think they're worried.
It's a very patient game from Talon, right? Like, not many kills on the kill board, 10 to 17. A smoke out from Talon now. It's going to be looking to play aggressive. Still no blink on KP, but as you mentioned, BKBs are ready. Here we go.
Well, Ravage is out. This could be a nice start as they've got Hyde down already. Into KP, they go with a massive death ward. It will take him down to Savage. Trying to force the fight, needs to back his way out. They get caught with their pants down, and Polaris, they do thoroughly punish. Talon, bit of a rare mistake here during this game one so far. Are gonna have to go back towards the base and go for a reset.
And that's massive from Polaris. They force out some of those first BKB charges on Savage especially, and that's going to leave the Monkey King a little bit more vulnerable in the middle of these fights. They still have insane burst damage on Polaris's end. Playing around with Cass, play with a Maledict, play with that crit on your CK, and you can still instantly melt these heroes, as the panel pointed out earlier. It's not going to be an easy Bane game for Hyde. Still going to have to watch themselves. They know there's no Ravage. Talon could go for a play here.
Yeah, they're going to force this one out. They've still got most of their BKBs available as they just destroy TMB.
Oh.
Makoto with a double damage rune just takes him out with one sleight of fist. It's not much though. Talon, they'll only be able to find a pos 5, but more importantly, it seems like they're just more than interested in getting back to dominating the map. Just gonna get back to overtaking and out farming the side of Polaris, who still need to sit back and be very careful.
They still need some time to build up. They're getting some decent scaling out from Natsumi, going for the Orchid next. So that control is going to be key in forcing out some of those early BKB uses, or, you know, just stacking on top of the stun and control you have if they don't manage to pop those BKBs on time. For Polaris, it feels like their tempo is held up with Ravage threat on Xavis. If they can play around a Ravage every time it's up, they can follow through really easy, get the roll off, start to run around and cause chaos on the map. Do have our classic C-pause coming through though, Mike. You know, Southeast Asia. Yeah, I've been to the Talon team house. They have a pretty good connection. Even then, you know, sometimes it's just not enough, Mikey.
How was that though, Jonathan? I mean, while we're here, how was the team house? Can you spill any beans for us? Can you give us the inside information?
The team house was great. There's a team house tour from Talon. It's real. The house is amazing. Like, it's actually such a great house. It's, you know, way better than my house.
All right, John. All right.
Air conditions running and stuff.
You've established it's a great house, John. Yeah, you love the house.
Yeah. It's a great house. Yeah. What can I say? I mean, air conditioning, Mikey. I don't have air conditioning. It's too. I'm too much of a plebeian. You know, it's too much for me. So I got to enjoy that. We had a fun time. You know, there's some stuff coming out, but we had a fun time. We got everyone to kind of try the arena spear combo. I don't know why. I think KP just challenged like Hyde to try it, and no one could really do it all too well. Maybe that's why we're seeing KP also take his time with spear arena combination, because it is tough. Right. You know, spear out and then arena. I think most of us, well, not me, I didn't try it all. Didn't want to embarrass myself there, Mikey, but you know, it is tough, and that's why. Yeah, I don't know. It was just funny. Hyde was trying. I think it was only Hyde trying, but it was pretty fun to watch that, Mikey. You know,
very good. Well, now that you've talked about the Talon team house, John, how's the Polaris team house?
Oh, you know, it's the same from last tour. I was talking to Xavius again. If they've got the Starbucks going, you know, like every single time, and Xavius is like, yeah, you know, if Natsumi asks for Starbucks, we've got to get him Starbucks. He's the CEO, and I think that's actually. I think that's Xavius' username right now. CEO Natsumi, yes.
We don't talk about those brands, Jonathan. You could have just said coffee.
Well, it's always there in the background, you know. It's right there. You've always got it.
I like the way you described Polaris's team house. Like, yeah, it's the same. Meanwhile, for Talon,
it's the same, though.
It's a great house. Talon's team house, great house. It's a great house.
I haven't been to Polaris's house. Maybe when I'm in Cebu. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Mid lane, Xavius. He's going to be in trouble. He might need to go back home as well, John. But he can't. He's dead. Makoto, he'll keep going now. Onto the CK. Natsumi almost goes down, but is going to be able to survive. They do take down Xavius at the very least. Getting away with another tide kill here for Makoto. And it's back up to a 10k net worth lead.
It's pretty concerning for Polaris that Makoto alone managed to drop Natsumi pretty low, along with the kisses on top coming out from Q. Just that combination from a mile away allows them to put their big win condition on a very low HP pool, and it's tough for Polaris to counteract that. They still rely on the Ravage. Reaching into the backline's tough. They're going to need Lelouch to show up and try to roll and disrupt. Nat Kiss, I think that's one massive issue right now for Polaris. If Q can get a good position for the Kisses, there's not much that can stop him outside of a very well-positioned Ravage or just a great blink roll out from Lelouch. And both of those are easier said than done considering how Talon's been working around or positioning these engagements.
Oh, now you've got the Ags up as well on Savage. It makes things a lot more challenging. If you are Polaris, the Savage will take the tier 2 bottom tower very easily. No problems whatsoever here for him. The immediate smoke out Talon. They want to try and pursue with this power spike that is on Savage. Into the mid lane they go. Lelouch, he might be the first target they find. In fact, he is. Savage missing out. KP does go for a spear, but it goes right through the tree line onto the T2 tower. They should eventually find him, and they will. Now, how does that work? How does the spear go right through the forest? This top lane. TMV in a bit of danger. KP going to go for a chase. TMV, he'll go into the Shadow Amulet, but it isn't going to matter. He will drop. And Savage, he still gets the mid-tier 2. No problem.
All outer towers gone for Polaris. They haven't been able to make too much leeway on the map. They've only taken the bot tier 1. Map control very heavy in Talon's favor. Q.
They do at least find Q. It's something here for Polaris again. It's not the biggest kill in the world, but they've got to take what they can get right now.
Yeah, they're just building up. At the least, the kill goes onto Natsumi, who does get to accelerate his build up onto the Orchid. I believe he does have it fully finished up. So they can start to play a little bit more aggressive on that CK. They've got really good high ground defense on Polaris as well. So long as the threat of Ravage stands from Xavius, high ground can be a bit tough for Talon to pierce. You're still looking to position outside here, though.
Yep, there's your ulti committed by the CK. They found nothing. They committed their ultimates and found nothing, John. I mean, at least Xavius didn't commit Ravage.
Yeah, Ravage is still up. They had to use the roll. Lelouch didn't find the angle in. They had a really good forward ward here from Polaris' end to spot things out, but Hyde knows something's up, gets the D-ward. Will pay with it with its life, though.
Oh, nice chains out by Makoto. Now, once again, Polaris, they're able to at least find the position 5 Bane, but that's about all they're finding. So even that bottom tier 3 tower was being forced in by Savage in the meantime. And this goes back to what you said earlier as well, John. I mean, Savage, he's just well and truly overtaken the net worth board in comparison to, say, Natsumi on the CK, and it just starts to feel like there's no coming back from this point. But
there's always way more.
Jump in. They found Xavius. Poor old Xavius. He's just going to have to burn alive here as Savage will happily take the kill on the Monkey King. And what's the way, Jonathan? How do you get back into this game?
High ground defense like a madman. Good Ravages, good rolls out. Sustained fight with the CK along with constant spam for soul assumption. And that's your best bet right now for Polaris. You can't necessarily force these fights outside your base. You could, but you need perfect position, and Talon's shown us time and time again, it's very hard to move against them. With the mobility of the Monkey King, with the mobility coming out from Ember here, Mike, it's hard for them to get the smoke angles out. So I think the best play is going to be that high ground.
Natsumi's going to be very careful. Hyde, he's in range to go for the Nightmares. The spear back is going to be LKP. They're going to move in, and they've got the CK locked down. Natsumi can do nothing. They will move in onto the tier 3 bottom tower. That's your CK gone for 60 seconds.
Yeah, massive kill. Still a bit uncomfy to go high ground. They did have to pop a couple of BKBs here. At least Savage had to pop his, and KP as well. So it can be a bit tough. Still going into Ravage and a roll on high ground. So they respect that on Talon's end, but they're whittling away on Polaris. Like, Savage is just massive, Mike. He's going for the Scotty next. Mikado, I believe, has his Ags up and running on our Ember, so it's going to be much more mobile as well, and you have to be careful about that mobility here.
Yeah, Xavius, he's going to be much more careful here, John, as he does commit the Ravage. There is going to be a very nice rolling Thunder line here for Lelouch to make his way over to, but is it going to be enough? It doesn't seem like it. They'll pop the Wukongs to make sure the zoning is going to be there for Talon. Ultimately, I suppose at least get Xavius out, but now he's left without Ravage.
Yeah, no threat of Ravage, no roll for a little bit here on Polaris. High ground can open up for Talon if they want to force the issue. Roshan's still about 2 minutes off until we see we see that objective come back on the map, so not much for Talon to play for in the interim. That will give Polaris some time to maybe just try to get some build up, try to get this blink up on Xavius. Is inching towards it here, Mike, about 580 gold away. And once that's up and running, should be easier for Xavius to set up for his team. A lot riding on that tide, getting that good initiation up and kind of getting his stun off before the BKBs fly on. But it's tough. If you miss that Ravage, Mikado with his Ags up on the Ember, I mean, we've already seen it. He just runs around like a madman, not too much to stop him. You've got the Basher up in Lelouch here, Mike. So you can randomly get a stun off, and they'll try their luck here on Polaris' end.
Yeah, mid lane, KP does break the smoke of Lelouch as he does make the blink in. Bashes out, KP in danger, does pop his BKB, and now the arena is down. Never mind, and Natsumi trapped inside of it as they move in. Makoto, he'll be there. Savage trying to go for the fight, but who are we aiming? They'll go after Lelouch on the Rolling Thunder. In fact, TMB, he'll be the first one to drop. In they go after the Pangolier, but he's just fine to blink out as Q now is the one in danger. Never mind, trying to chase him down, does at least pick up the Snapfire, but Savage is going to be right behind him on the Visage, but they do find another. KP's gone, but they will take down Nevermind. A 2-for-2 trade. Certainly in the favor of Polaris Esports this time around, I believe, Jonathan. So they do get a very nice net worth swing to go their way, but the fight is not really over. Xavius, oh boy. I mean, you can try for the TP all you want, but the damage output from 23 Savage right now is just way too high.
It really is way too high now, and the timing's perfect for Talon. Roche up in about 10 seconds. Polaris not going to have Ravage. They will have the Tide and Ravage up if the buyback's committed. Lelouch has to be a bit careful here.
And he does. Savage going to set up for the Wukong's command into the chains out by Makoto. Savage now 8-0-4 on the Monkey King. And like I said earlier, John, what a debut so far for Talon.
Yep, they're hungry, these guys, and the claws are out straight into the Roche. Timing's perfect. There is Ravage for Polaris when the respawn does come in for Xavius. Issue is, can they get there in time? They don't have the outpost. Still no blink up on our Tide. 200 gold away, so close, but just a bit too far, and it does look like Roche number 2 will go the way of Talon. Polaris not in a position to contest, and this should give Talon the tools they need to get into that high ground next.
Yeah, Roshan just not going to last here. Talon do take it down very easily. Savage will take another Aegis for himself. Makoto. Did Makoto even get the cheese? Was there? No, it was the shards out. Did he take it? Who the hell knows? It doesn't matter. He's got shards available.
Yeah, it's ready to go at the very least. And I believe he did take it, Mike. I don't think he had that earlier on. So, yeah, core privilege. Not going to be handing it over. I guess you already have the big one on Q. I feel like it would have been pretty good in KP. Nonetheless, they will go for a smoke and try to catch them out with that secondary life on hand. If they find a kill outside of base, high ground opens up. With that Aegis, it's not going to take too long for them to commit there.
When they go, Xavius gonna realize the hard way that Savage is right above him as well. There's a remnants forward. Makoto, he'll go right after TMB. Aghanim Scepter makes it very easy for the Ember to chase. And Xavius, he will be the second to follow. And now Makoto, I mean, he's just looking for more. He can just hunt anyone he wants.
Yeah, and he's been on a constant hunt this entire game. 9-0-7 right now on that Ember. I think the one thing that really enabled that for Makoto was also power rune control. We saw him multiple times in the early game there, Mike, with double damage runes almost every single time. Right? They just had such great rune control to enable that Ember's aggression. And again, with the Aegis still running, with Savage with the Scotty up, how do you stop this high ground push?
Lelouch thinking about moving in, but Savage, a very intimidating kind of target as they make the jump in for Lelouch, but they miss out. Q just not quick enough, and in the meantime, Natsumi does get the Monkey King once. It's a great start. Can they get him a second? KP, he'll move in with the arena. They've only got Nevermind, and he's gone into that stone form for now. They should at least have the Visage eventually. There's Nevermind, does get stunned up and gets taken down by the statues of 23 Savage. But it seems like that's going to be about it. They've successfully defended the high ground for now here, Polaris. And Talon, they are not going to overextend. But they do have a Deso up now, Makoto.
Yeah, they've got a lot of damage coming out from Mikado. The blink is up for Xavius, and he did hold on to the Ravage in that fight. No BKBs. This could be punishing for Talon if they misplay. Without that spell immunity, you have a lot of value coming in here from that Ravage on Xavius.
We can see if they can actually land a pretty big Ravage here, though. Not many BKBs up. Lelouch in big trouble. already getting taken down. He does have buyback available, but he might just need to commit it. Surely, you just keep chipping away at this Rax if you are Talon, but no, they actually back out. They're just going to play this one very slowly.
Take it safe, no Aegis up. You know that they still have Ravage up and running as well. Kind of gonna want to wait for at least the BKBs to come off cooldown first. Refresh up for KP, so double arena, double spear is on hand along with multiple BKB uses. And this could be the signaling point for Talon. Are still in a good position to keep the wave shoved in. Their ward was taken away by Polaris, so there is an element of surprise for Polaris from the high ground. But they are just stuck here. So all the while, Talon still plays in and out of the jungle, farming up the triangle, constantly getting that build up. And Polaris just don't have an angle to step outside base. They're just stuck there slowly but surely. Even if Talon doesn't force the issue on Rax, you're really choking him out from gold.
He'll make the jump in. Xavius needs to get that Ravage off ASAP, but the BKBs are out and he can't do it. No buyback available. That'll mean the Wukongs to come out and the Rax to be secured. No problems here for Talon. No, they won't even bother with the range Rax. They'll just leave it be.
Yeah, just very disciplined, not looking to overcommit. They know the Pangoliers back up. They respect that the random Skull Basher stuns with a swash can cause some issues and the roll is still ready to go. I'm not sure if they were really aware there was no buyback in Xavius. They must have seen that fresh blink, and they must have seen that burn through a hole in his net worth, but not going to capitalize on that moment. Respawn's fairly short on our tide anyway. Talon just going to re-invade that top jungle, keep the build up, keep the gold flowing. They are reaching the point where Savage also has his refresh flying out. So even more Wukongs, even more BKB uses. I mean, how do you stop all these cores with double BKBs on KP and on Savage? It just doesn't feel like that window with Ravage is going to be all that smooth anymore for Xavius to find.
Well, that's the question I'm going to be asking you, Jonathan. Is how Polaris get back into this game? It seems like you're starting to agree with me that there's not really a great way back into the game, John.
Yeah, at this point, it's a bit too much to deal with. I mean, again, if Xavius does play out of his mind, as we've seen him do before, you know, all the way back to Adroit days, get that blink initiation the team needs, maybe you can get the burst off. This is still a CK. He's got level 20 talent with a Reality Rift piercing spell immunity. He's got the full Blood Torn up. So that burst window from Ravage along with the stuns from the swash and from the roll can be massive.
Careful. He's gonna be okay. Scary, scary times here for Polaris. They cannot leave the base right now. Chains out. Lock down the CK for one. Downless not gonna land. Savage makes the jump in, forcing out the Rolling Thunder, and they will just disengage. They lose, he just cancelled it off. Into the chains they go, Arena down, KP, he's in. Ravage does nothing. Ravage does absolutely nothing here by Xavius. As TMV and Xavius are both down. And now, with the Wukong's command down, it's going to be a very easy time to get the mid lane of Barracks. It's Natsumi, he's going to try and make the jump in, but look at the damage output. Savage just rips him a new one. And that'll be game one to go the way of Talon as Polaris. And they're off to a great start. At least with that first team fight at the 0-minute mark, John, but right after that, it just all fell apart.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough one for Polaris. It looked good at the start. They had really good level 1s to play with, and I'd say maybe up to level 3, level 4, their lanes looked a lot stronger if they maintained that aggressive pace, right? If they managed to play around with, say, the Gush from the Tide along with the Grave Chill from the Visage on the bot lane a little bit more, instead of playing greedy with Pulse, they might have been able to, you know, work that lane better, keep Savage down, and play off the back of this snowballing effect from the Visage. But they opted to play it slow, and that was something Talon could punish. Savage had a really good time in his bot lane. He managed to get that build up. He went for Battle Fury and he wasn't punished. We've seen Battle Fury Monkey be punished multiple times before, but Savage was left alone to free farm up top after the laning phase, and he just built into this beast along with Mikado. Mikado did all the work in setting the pace there along with the supports, right? They bought Savage and KP to an extent some space to farm, but his movement on that Ember was just sickening. He ended up with no deaths in this game, and he just had an absolute monster run. I think Polaris has to reconsider their playstyle. They love playing greedy under Paw's Force, but I don't think you can afford to do that up against a team like Talon.
Yeah, and luckily for us, Jonathan, we got to see that great gaming house from Talon that you love to talk about so much. We are going to head off to a very short break, and of course, right after the break, we'll be back with Game 2 between Talon and Polaris Esports. We'll see you there.